Hi and welcome back to the best thing you watched this week. It's Chris from Movies and Munchies and Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to America.
Hey, welcome to the UK. I'm confused already. We started off really
What's
well.
What's going on?
I don't know. Why are we here? Okay, so if you connect with us weekly, then you'll know the shenanigans we get up to. But basically what we do is we talk about the best thing that we watched this week, an amalgamation of stuff that we want to put on your list that you might enjoy and bring some analytical minds to it, somewhat a bit of fun. We also do an audio exclusive where we talk about an exclusive movie, and we do a Patreon. And this week, sadly, we're talking about our favorite kind of top 5 projects that Lance Reddick was involved with. Thank you. Yeah, I could see you mouthing get the name right. And so we're going to do that. So if you want to see what ours was, then please join us. Don't forget, it's literally just £1 to join us on there, and you get a cornucopia. How much, Chris?
£1? That's
yeah,
like,
man.
That's like a McDonald's soda. That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, McDonald's cheeseburger is more expensive than that here, so
we used to be able to... quality is better.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so that's mostly all of the socials out the way, I think.
Yeah, that works.
So welcome, thank you for joining us. Chris, you do the movie quizzes, quote quizzes. You still haven't been fired. Even people in the comments were saying, "Don't fire Chris." I'll let it go for now, I guess.
I got a fan club.
Yeah, you do. So you want to talk us through the winners of last week?
Yes. Well, Tara Briscoe, she got all 3. So good job there.
Congratulations.
The answers. Yeah, this is the answers. I don't know. Maybe they were. Who knows? Anyway, the answers. Friday.
Oh yeah,
the original
nice.
Friday.
Nice.
Scream.
Yep, I think I guessed that.
And
one.
then A Fish Called Wanda.
I definitely didn't get that one.
Oh man,
I think I've seen it once. Yeah.
Oh, maybe
it's funny.
That's
it's
one
great.
of the ones that we should rewatch.
And we should definitely put that on our.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, put that on our list. I like that film. I know I've seen it once, but I know I like it. So yeah.
I love the British humor, but then you
great.
have the American idiots within the British humor, which makes it even all the better.
It's John Cleese, right?
Yeah, John Cleese, Kevin Kline, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, Kevin. Oh, and Jamie. Yeah, of course. Great cast.
Yeah,
definitely
but also,
going on our list.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's got more than John Cleese from the Monty Python group. There's who I can't remember his name. Ken is from Pythons. So
Okay.
Anyway,
Nice.
yes. This week. All right, I got 3 new ones.
All right.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Bullet immunity. You have bullet immunity.
Oh, I think I might know that actually. Yeah.
Okay. Second one. It doesn't matter if racing never changes. What matters is if we let racing change us. Each one of us has to find a reason to do this. You don't climb into a T-180 to be a driver. You do it because you're driven.
Nice. I think I know that one as well.
Cool. This one, I debated on which part of the quote I wanted to use. I think it's going to be fairly easy, but that's okay. This is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be painful or overly difficult. But, okay, here we go. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here. That's all over the second we ride up Troy's bucket. Your mind is working.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's working overtime. Yeah, I could have a guess on the third. The second one, I don't think I've even seen, but I know it's one of your favorite films. If I know what I think it is.
Huh. Okay. Oh, well, it'll be interesting to hear your guesses later.
Yeah. Okay.
Do
you ready for a question?
I am.
Okay. This week, I'd like you to name 20 Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Oh, well, that's not going to happen. I can tell you that right now.
Do you know how many he's done? So
He's done
many.
a crap ton of them, but I don't know all of them. I mean, I know he's done what? So we got Bloodsport, Universal Soldier, JCVD, the one of the Expendable movies.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't remember which one
like
he was
the
in.
third one, I think. Yeah.
Maybe I don't. Yeah. Kickboxer.
Nice. Okay, should we say 10?
If we can go 7, that's going to be impressive here. See, he had all those string of movies that were like, I don't even know.
Okay, so Sudden Death.
Oh, yes.
Hard Target.
Time Cop.
Time Cop.
Okay.
Yep.
Some of those early to mid 90 ones.
No Retreat, No
that's
Surrender. I think that's one.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Cyborg.
Have I seen that? When did
He
that
gets
come out?
gets nailed to a cross on that one.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that one because it's okay.
Just think of the face where he goes, when he's doing the splits and he's like, A Double Impact.
Okay. Yeah.
Where he plays two of himself.
Two. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one he was just in on Netflix too. Like in the last 2 years ish.
Really?
I didn't think it was very good, but
okay. UFO, which I helped make.
That's right. You were. That's why.
I can't believe
I've only heard of that.
I can't believe I
one.
was forgetting. There's like, I think it's called Alien Uprising now. They even changed the name.
Oh, they changed it. Yeah. Well.
It's a really great film, guys. You should totally watch it.
See, I think even if you were to combine like Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, I'm not sure I could name 20 total.
You know, we're missing some like really big ones.
Well, and he had that, like the late 80s going into the early 90s where there was that surge of over-the-top action and then sci-fi action movies. And some of them I remember fondly. I'm not sure how well they hold up.
Master Croc in Kung Fu Panda 3.
Oh, really? See, I haven't seen 3. So that's also part of the problem there.
Love 3, because you learn all about Poe's family in that one.
I remember you saying that was a great, like as a trilogy, it's a really good story and a well-rounded one.
Yeah.
So,
Did we get there? How many did we do?
I think that was 10.
Ah.
There certainly wasn't 20. Yeah, I don't.
He was also Master Croc in Kung Fu Panda 2. I'm looking on IMDb now, and the list is crazy.
Oh, I bet.
Maximum Risk: The Quest. Street Fighter. Of course, Street Fighter, the movie.
Oh. That's the one with what's his name? Gomez Adam. Raul Julia. Yeah.
The Last Action Hero? He was in that?
What? He was in that?
Death Warrant, AWOL.
Yeah, no.
Okay, yeah, that was a bad choice.
Well, for all of those I don't even know what
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yes. Fans out there, this was a good choice. Let
us know. Let us know your top 5 Van Damme, because the top 5 I think are actually pretty good. Like, they're really fun films you can go to. Time Cop, Hard Targets.
I thought Kickboxer. I remember liking Kickboxer.
Kickboxer and Bloodsport, very integral to his.
Yeah, maybe I'm not sure which one I'm
they're both
remembering more.
Good. But definitely, like, The Muscles from Brussels back in the day was so popular. All right, so I'm going to keep these going every week, but what you guys can do is give us a top 3 of who you would like us to guess, and we'll do it together so that it's not just on Chris. And we'll do like 15 to 20, combine our brain powers, and hopefully I'll just look at the name, I'll choose one of them, or we can both choose one of them, and then we'll try and see how good our movie brains are as the sun peaks. It's crescendo, and I'm like, super white! Look how white!
There's like a meteor coming into your room.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Armageddon 2. Well, this is... You heard it here first, guys!
Oh, the joys of doing things in different time zones.
Oh, man.
Oh, goodness. Wow,
Also showing me how dusty my screen is.
Oh, see, at least we can't see the dust there, but that is funny at how bright it's getting, even though, and now it's starting to go again.
Yeah, it's peaking, and it's about to be nighttime.
Yeah, okay. Funny. Well, as the sun begins to burn you up, should we dive into the things that we watched?
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this week because there was a lot.
There was a lot.
And there was a lot of good stuff, I think. Yeah.
I had a handful of good things. Yeah, I was actually surprised, and I think because we watched enough stuff, there won't be overlap. There could be overlap, but I don't think there's.
I don't think there'll be that much. No.
Yeah.
I think you have more than me, so why don't you start this week?
Okay. So I got to see this early, and it's John Wick 4. Yes, you are just absolutely.
I'm just gonna close the curtain.
Okay. Oh. Oh wow! That instantly changed things. That was that.
Okay. Just a white forehead now.
Instantly changed it. That's amazing. There. All right. Well, so like I was saying, I got to see John Wick 4 early this week.
Not jealous at all.
Dude, okay, so I'm totally gonna stay away from spoilers, but I've watched a couple of reviews since I put out my review, and it's so funny how everybody is kind of on the same page with this, that it is so much fun. It is everything like more. You know, the fight scenes, the action sequences, they are long, and you could say they're yes.
I have a question.
Okay.
As you're going into it, it's a long movie.
It is. It's 2 hours and 49 minutes.
Yeah. Did you feel that?
No.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay.
No, because like the action sequences, I mean, they could be legitimately like maybe 15 or 20 minutes long. I mean, which, to put in context, and I always go back to this when I hear like, oh, well, that's really long, or that's a long. The last fight, the climactic fight in Endgame, Avengers Endgame, is an hour long.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? A 20-minute action scene, no big deal. But it's crazy at what happens. I mean, if you, like, I was laughing out loud in kind of those abrupt, like, oh, so many times, because the violence that would occur was just so abrupt. I mean, you would see things. Are we setting aside some disbelief here? Absolutely. But we have from the very beginning, that this is just, John Wick he's John Wick, and because he's the star of the movie, he's going to take a beating and keep going. You do see him like hobble sometimes, or he gets up and, he's has to take a breath and stuff. But the choreography, the fight stunts in this, wow. I mean, just monster time huge and very entertaining, and a lot of variety. Now you'll have a one action set, and so it will encompass like a lot of similar action. But then when you move to another location and a different thing, some of the action is still the same, because I mean they're shooting or whatever, but you get to experience different ways that they're doing their stunts, and they're doing the hand-to-hand combat. And honestly, I thought the story was pretty good. I mean, it's simple because it's I mean, it's John Wick on the run, right?
Yeah.
And he's being pursued by everybody, and he's trying to get his place or get himself not now hunted by the High Table. It's kind of the continuation from number 3. Well, it is a continuation.
Is there a story?
For me, yeah, it makes sense. There's a motivation for what's going on, especially because it's continuing on from number 3. Why Winston did what he did,
right?
Why all of that happened.
Yeah, because there was that moment where it ends, where you see Wick falling. And you're like, oh my gosh, what have you done? How dare you? You're with friends. You like betrayal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a good.
From what I've seen in the trailers, there seems to be a good amount of not just Wick, because he is just one man. There seems to be a team versus a team, basically.
Dude, so the other characters that are in this, I mean, you have your returning ones like Lance Reddick, Ian McShane, Lawrence Fishburne. So you have them reprising their roles, which is great.
Yeah.
But then you have these additions like Bill Skarsgård.
Does he do action?
No, he's not. I mean, he does a tiny little bit, but he's more of like the brains, the menace, the what's the word that I'm looking for? Like he's the mastermind behind this. He's the driving force behind everything that's going after Wick. Right. And so he's
he menacing?
He is. I mean, he's unhinged and the arrogance and the hubris that he has also really works.
Nice.
I mean, he's kind of pinkies up posh type of thing, you know. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, the arrogance I think is what really comes into play. He's very well dressed. I mean, it's almost ridiculous at how he is. He's so out of touch because he's so untouchable. Right. That that type of thing. And he's very privileged. He's very just all of that goes into it. He does an amazing job. But then, good gravy. Shamir Anderson, who he's been in a bunch of things that I've seen in the last couple of years. I think the first time that I really saw him or noticed him was in a Netflix movie that I did not like called, I don't know, I don't remember what it was called. It's some sci-fi, Stowaway. I didn't enjoy the movie. He was the best part of that movie. Yeah. He is amazing in this because he's a complexity and a wild card all at once. And you watch him. He's got a good sense of humor. He's got a good sense of timing. He's also this calm and patience that comes in, which is really good. And then Donnie Yen.
Yeah, I was going to say, on a scale of excellent to masterful, where does Donnie Yen fall in this? Because if you've seen Ip Man, you understand how good he is, and any of his other films, but you've seen him in Star Wars as well, and he kind of stole that movie for me.
He did well, and in Rogue One, he's blind.
Yeah,
and he's got his staff. In this movie, he's also blind.
Amazing. Okay,
dude, and he is. I mean, it's so good. It's so cool to watch him use his surroundings and use the tools that he has to help him fight. And I mean, the action is phenomenal, but it's also the banter that's there because he's former friends with John Wick. I mean, they know each other. Yeah. And so there's these Kane, Wick. I don't know. The dynamic, it works really well. The action is, like I said, it's over the top. I'm curious now, and I gotta say, because we had a Keanu Reeves at one point had said he will keep making John Wick movies until the fans don't want him anymore. Which I'm like, yes. But then this week came out a statement in some kind of interview that both Keanu and Chad Stahelski, or Stileski, the director, had talked about how they're not sure where the franchise is going to go, if it's going to continue from here. It's really going to depend on what the studio wants to do. So I thought that was kind of interesting there.
I think they said that they were going to keep making them if it goes crazy. Like, if people really enjoy this one, then they'll make it, but they're going to take a break from it, let it lie for a bit. We're still going to get the Continental, as far as I'm aware. And I think there's a spin-off something from the John Wick world coming as well.
There's the Ballerina, which is a movie that with Ana de Armas, and that I think has Keanu as a cameo in it. The Continental takes place like in the 70s or something. It's more of Winston's backstory.
Oh, interesting.
And the hotel there. So I don't think we'll see John Wick at all in that.
Oh, weird. I guess I've changed that up, because I read that Keanu would be in there, but he'd be too young then.
He would, yeah. So unless maybe towards the end of it they catch up, or maybe there's flashbacks or flash forwards.
Possible.
Maybe, I don't. I don't know. But this was, I mean, for me, this one is rivaling the first one.
Interesting. Okay.
For the amount of fun, the amount of just heart that it has, it's way more action oriented with larger set pieces. We're globe hopping now, which is awesome. I was blown away too while I was watching at the grandeur of some of the locations that they go into.
Okay.
Maybe 50, 60, 100-foot ceilings, something like that in these buildings.
Wow.
There's one that's I think it's in the Louvre, which I've never been to. I would love to go to. But you see a character walking in front of these paintings, and the painting is probably 20 to 25 feet tall.
Jeez.
And so you have this wide shot that encompasses the full painting, and then some of the paintings on the sides of it that are also monstrous, and then the character walking in front. And it's just a great visual to show how big things are. Or when somebody will walk into a cathedral and it will just pull back and you see the monster, just how tall it is, and the characters dwarfed by their locations. And I can't wait for you to see this. I can't wait for everybody to see this. I think if you've liked John Wick, then this one, you're right there for it.
I can't wait.
You can walk out with a smile on your face. Yeah.
I'm just gonna swap the battery.
Okay.
Because this one, for some reason, has dropped quickly.
Doesn't want to play.
No.
As Ruben does that, I'm going to enjoy some coffee out of my very, very large coffee mug, because that's what it is. Enjoy it. 5 o'clock somewhere, you don't know what's in this. Could be whiskey, could be vodka, could really be coffee, maybe even hot chocolate or tea. You'll just have to guess. Depends on how funny I get as we go along, or how much my words slur or don't work. That'll give you a clue as to what's going on.
What did you do?
And that is the story of how I fell.
Damn it.
I'm dumb. All right. I'm good to move on. What's on your list?
Okay, so this is one that came out on Thursday. It was actually meant to come out on Friday on Amazon Prime, but for some reason they dropped it early. So I had the screeners. I was watching the screeners. I looked at Prime. I was like, okay, they're all in there. I'm just going to flick over, because sometimes when you get screeners, you have dates and times, and your screen is so crowded. I know, first world problems, but still, we want to see it in clarity so you can properly review it. So my wife and I started watching their half-an-hour episodes called Class of '07, and the premise is this: when an apocalyptic tidal wave hits during the 10-year reunion of an all-girl high school, a group of women must find a way to survive on the island peak of their high school campus. So it's the campus is like high up. It's like really high. It was an all-girls sort of run by nuns, so it's a very strict, but they still got up to a whole bunch of nonsense. It's all girl, but they did have a couple of men that were like teaching and stuff there as part of the school. But apart from that, all the students were female. So what happens is we have our 10-year reunion. They're still quite young, so I'm thinking it's probably 17, 18, and then 10 years on from that, they're all probably 27, 28. So they look similar to how they did. The series basically is, I'm thinking of, what's the famous book when the kids go on an island and then they go...
Lord of the Flies?
Yeah, Lord of the Flies. So there's elements of Lord of the Flies in it.
Okay.
But there's also elements of them trying to come to terms with what they went through in the school. And so there's some
as kids?
Yeah. There's some
okay.
deep trauma. There's teachers getting up to nonsense. There's... one of the characters was like a bully and horrific to like all of the characters, and then you find out why. So that the whole story is them trying to survive but also deal with their baggage. Now for me, I was most interested in them trying to survive. Like when your food runs out, what do? Like yeah, who's gonna take charge rather than them all let themselves go? Who's gonna keep their morale up? How long are they going to stay there? Are they going to try and build something and go off on a raft and see if there's other land there, or are they just going to sustain and hopefully that somebody else, if there's anybody left alive, that sort of thing. So seeing them deal with like building toilets or trying to figure out how to get electricity working, what they can eat and what they can't eat. Can you fish now? Because is the stuff in the water okay to eat? All of that kind of survival stuff I thought was really interesting. And then mixing that in with the like some horrific stuff that they had to deal with in that school was very interesting. So because it's quick episodes, like 30 minutes, it really makes you want to watch the next episode. Now, we haven't finished it. We watched 6 of the 8. But I'm fairly certain that's not going to end there. I don't think it's a one. I think it's a... They'll probably show like a sort of cliffhanger of like maybe somebody else coming towards them in the ocean. Like, oh, there's one other person that will throw off the dynamic. I think it'll be interesting if there's one guy that comes off like, and then and there's a one man. I think that would be an interesting way to go with it. But it's a lot of fun. One of the actresses you'll know from, her name is Emily Browning. She was in the, again, Amazon Prime series, American Gods. She was Laura Moon. She was very good in that. So as I did want Kirsten to do a review with me, but we didn't get around to it because obviously it's a whole female cast and her perspective was interesting.
Yeah.
I think she enjoyed it more than I did. So that gives you this is still the best thing I watched, but there were times I was just frustrated with them because they're being girls, dealing with their stuff from their past. In the meantime, I'd be like, yeah, priorities, shove all that stuff behind you and you deal with it another time so you can survive. Like maybe figure out how you're going to live before you deal with your emotional stuff about how your friend bullied you or whatever. Yeah.
So is it more like drama or is there action within this?
Yeah, it's drama. It's
okay.
At times dramatic. It's not like soap drama. There is definitely a lot of that, but there is like drama from the story point of view, like how they survive, but how do I explain it? What decisions they make impact them on the survival part of it. And so it's like not thriller, but it's thrilling to watch because you're like, I would never do that, or what are they doing with another person? The hierarchy that still somehow becomes a thing. I think without doing spoilers, seeing what who the girls become, or what their past was like since that 10 years, plays a big part in the storyline now. Which it was nice to see something different and fresh because it's taking that apocalyptic thing surrounded with water, feels almost anime in a way. That premise, and then you're having a drama llama with these girls, which you're seeing what girls get up to in their dorms, and like I've got to have electricity because I've got to wash my hair. Like priorities. Or there's always that one girl that like thinks she's more important. Like, where's my Louis Vuitton bag? I can't I've lost my Louis Vuitton bag, and she will eat all the food, and she will drink all the use the last water. There's that one girl that's just like you can do without, all those caricatures that you love to hate.
Nice. Yeah, that adds a lot of drama, adds that conflict to it. And they're just bad news. Oh. Even if later they might get a redemption arc, like right now, it's like, I need you to die.
Yeah, like you are not going to help me survive. Like maybe if this was a different circumstance, but right now if it's me or you're definitely going to make us go towards death.
I need to keep you alive just in case I need to eat you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really the only reason.
That's the only reason. Yeah, cannibals, here we come.
Fun. Well, you were talking to me. We were chatting, yesterday and stuff. At least from this recording. And so, yeah, I've added that to my list because I think it sounds like fun. And having a quicker binge, that's appealing.
Yeah, it is appealing. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. And it is on, I'm pretty sure
it's all on Amazon
the US
Prime
as well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So outstanding. Well, another Amazon Prime series, Prime Video that came out this week, was Swarm. And, this is messed up. It's, I read it premiered at South by Southwest, which was going on last week and this week. Okay. And like the first initial reviews, at least by maybe non-media people, were not too great. But they only saw the first two episodes.
Right.
Yeah, and they were like,
I can understand that then. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they weren't happy with the show. It was kind of disgusting. They didn't like the direction of it. Not so much not the direction of like how it's directed, but where it's going, where they felt the story was going, which I get. But then there were also statements that were like, this is supposed to repulse you. It's not supposed to make you feel good. It's not supposed to be something that you get behind. Like you're supposed to look at this with like the cocked head, like what's wrong with this person? And basically it's from Donald Glover is the co-creator of this. Nice. And it kind of lives in the world I read of Atlanta, his other series. Like,
interesting.
Like it's not a spin-off of it. It's not that, but it kind of lives in that same universe.
Okay.
Dominique Fishback is the star. She stars as Dre, and she is phenomenal. You have these, she's this obsessed fan with this artist called Nyjah. But really what happens is, this is kind of like a cautionary tale or a loosely based on, or what could be definitely a fictionalized account of Beyonce.
Like they call themselves the Bees, right? And that's what
the Beehive.
In real life is, as far as I'm aware.
It's also
it's them. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what you get is Dre and this Beehive. They are rabid. So if anybody says anything negative about their favorite artist, they attack on social media. They dox people. They do. It's all kinds of it's horrible, right? And what we watch though is when somebody who's wildly obsessed and also unhinged and then broken, like emotionally for a legitimate reason. There's a legitimate like breaking point for her, what she does from there, and it becomes horrifying. It's like jaw-dropping, unbelievable, like, whoa. And it doesn't just stop once. It just continues on. There's a fantastical element to this, which is brought about because Dre is a very unreliable narrator. So we'll see sequences that we're watching something play out, and then we see the ramifications of what really happened afterwards. And you're like, oh, wait a minute, so what she was seeing and what we were seeing through her eyes was not actually what was going on.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you don't ever know though what you can believe moving forward. Is this really how it's playing out? or is this her fantasy? And you begin to be able to really tell, because the horrific things that you see happen, those are actually happening. When it becomes this dreamy like state, or where she's the hero, that's definitely more of the the dream setting and the hallucination and just the detachment from reality. It's 7 episodes. They're lengthy. Not all of them though. That's the weird thing. I mean, they vary in length. I guess that's really what it is, that they, some are like 30 minutes, some are, I think, like 45, 50-ish minutes. So it tells just the amount of story that it needs for each episode. You might begin to see now, Billie Eilish is in this, and she is really, really good in her character.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I don't know what I was expecting or not expecting. Oh, Buddy the Brave, here's something. So anyway, she a huge compliment to the cast and to the storyline. This, it's not going to be for everybody, and it's going to be maybe a little tough to get into at first, because the content it's heavy and dark and just oppressive, and it doesn't leave you with like a great feeling throughout any of it.
Yeah.
Like there's always just this bleh type, but it's still entertaining. And I mean, I was like, it's funny, I didn't even want to start watching it. I had a ton of stuff to choose from that I needed to start screening this week. And this was like almost at the bottom of my list. And we played the trailer, and my wife was like, "Oh, that looks really interesting. Let's try that." And I was like, "Okay, fine." I kind of begrudgingly, that's not what I wanted to start with.
Yeah.
Oh, could not stop. Wow. I mean, it was just like I was, once that first episode concluded and you're like, "Woo," the second one, and then they just build on each other, and it's like, wow, I gotta finish. And lack of sleep and everything, totally worth it. So,
is it a contained story?
It is. Yes. It they called it like season 1. I don't know why they just didn't say it was a limited series, because I don't see how it could continue on. Right. And if it did, I don't think I'd be interested, because it wraps itself up in a vague-ish but still satisfying way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like I mentioned, we watched the first episode and there's 20 minutes of the second episode, and it like you said, I don't think it will be for everyone, but it's good to hear that it actually, I don't know if it's finding its feet's the right thing, but you got to let it play out. It's one of those series that it seems to be that you need to give 3 episodes, maybe 4, until you're completely hooked and absorbed into that story.
Yeah, it's definitely, and it's a character study of the obsession and stuff. And this, I do think you're going to have to be in the mood to want to start this, because of how dark it is.
Yeah.
No, I get that. Totally get that. So,
okay. Yeah. Nice. Moving on.
Is that Beavis and Butthead?
No, that was me trying to do Elvis.
Oh.
Yeah, that's better.
You need the lip curl there a little bit.
Right. I look more like Stallone. Adrian. Okay. Yeah, no. So Netflix put out a new adult animation series called Agent Elvis. There's 10 episodes. They're about 20 minutes apiece. The voice for Elvis is Matthew McConaughey, and I didn't know that I needed that in my life until I heard him. It's his mix of his buttery voice that like you can listen to make you sleepy. It even has like sleep apps, the Matthew McConaughey. Now what you need to do is just, all right, go and look at the stars and that, but then adding like an Elvis twang, and it just fits perfectly. I was just like, okay, I'm down for him at least. Apparently, die-hard fans of Elvis Presley are not impressed that they've done this with his character. I say, whatever, because even Priscilla, who's one of the co-creators of this, has written, created, and starred like voices in this. Like so the
wow.
Presleys all, you know, all thumbs up. This is their baby, so they wouldn't have greenlit it if they didn't think it was, you know, good for it. I had a blast. It's not going to be for everyone because it's very adult in nature. The animation itself, very, very cool. This is Sony Animation's first foray into an adult animation. So that, you know, we've seen them do Spider-Man. We've seen, you know, and they're excellent at the animation. So the animation itself, very fun, lends itself well to kind of when it's set, you know, when Elvis was that age. The fun comes with the characters that are hyper realized. So you have a monkey or a chimpanzee that is like, he's sort of, I don't know if I'll even class him as a friend. He's just there living with him. He wears a nappy, but Elvis understands him, like when he goes, this chimp is highly intelligent, was one of the chimps that was an astronaut, you know, that's sent to space, that kind of one. He must have rescued him at some point, Elvis. And this chimp smokes cigars, has all types of drugs. He is a partier, like the craziest thing. Elvis classes his monkey friends when he's going on a mission. He's the grenade or the explosion that he pulls when he's in a bit of trouble. It's like, okay, I need to get out. I don't see a way out. Release the monkey. So that he has a team that's like a hillbilly. His best friend, I'll say, is a hillbilly genius. And yeah. So that makes up his team. He gets recruited by this secret, very powerful agency that has ties and hands in all around the world.
Okay.
I bet you will pick up other voice actors like Johnny Knoxville, who plays Bobby Ray, who I think is the best friend. Don Cheadle John Cheadle is the commander who's kind of in charge of the these guys. One of my favorite, Jason Manzelki from.
He's in Parks and Rec. He's the fragrance guy.
Yeah. He plays Howard Hughes.
Really?
But a really crazy scientist version of Howard Hughes, which I think Howard Hughes was slightly, but like taking that character and, like I said, hyper realize them. So all the characters you get in this animation are as crazy you expect them to be, and then bigger than that, like larger than life. And so at one stage, an example of an episode, you will have Elvis going to one of his concerts or a concert. There are a bunch of hippies. It's like Woodstock, and a speaker that echoes green sound effects turns these hippies into zombie hippies. And so now there is going to be a bloodbath because they've got to take them down and stop the speakers or what the gadget, the doohickey that is creating them. And there's a big arc about Elvis's background. He's like where he was, something happened to him. And that's kind of what you want to find out, that draws itself into the main story. There's like a bit of like tangents of who this company is and why it's connected to him, all of that. My word, bad language all throughout, some sex stuff, and the violence is gory and very creative.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
If you think about The Boys' Diabolical animation series, did you ever see that? Yeah. It's about as crazy as that.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun, but I also don't think you need to binge watch it. It's one of those that you take in bite-sized pieces. Like 1 or 2 episodes will be enough, you know, or maybe enough. Like, it's like, okay, that's enough for me today. This is as far as I'm going to go. It's also fast and frenetic, so some of the dialogue lines are jokes, but you're still catching up to what they said because there's a lot kind of mixing into it. Yeah. So there might be a joke on screen that was referenced earlier, or something was so funny or risky to say because at the time, or the monkey or the person, they're all those characters that you could never take home to your mother, right? You're like, no, stop speaking. So it's a lot of fun, different.
Cool. Well, that's good. I'm glad it's a lot of fun. I mean, first off, the anime right up your alley there, or just the adult animation in that style. So that's fun. Does it feature like Elvis music in there, or even like
there's so much
reimaginings of his
Elvis music? Yeah,
Okay.
there's so much Elvis music. Yeah. Also, sorry, I can't see you anymore. Your camera's gone.
Oh my gosh, I've dropped off the face of the earth there.
Much later.
I don't know what we were talking about. Were you done with Agent Elvis?
Elvis, yeah, that's fine. We'll move on.
Oh, okay. No, I don't want to cut you off. I just
No, it's good. Yeah, it's good. It's fine.
Okay. There may be a weird time jump in this, or a weird edit, because Chris's internet has kind of taken a poop. Ruben can't even see me anymore. I can kind of see your pixelated.
No, I can see your pixelated face now.
Well, there we go. That's fun. Yeah. At least he can hear me. This should be, when all is said and done, he should be able to see me also. But we're going to continue on. The next thing we want to talk about was The Last of Us, the season finale.
Ooh,
and
okay.
I know you got to see the whole series, but
yeah,
I was
that's
watching
old hat for me now. I can barely remember it, Chris. So long ago.
Yeah, dude. Wow, what an emotional episode. It was so good. And when, I don't want to give spoilers, even though it's been out for
ages. Everybody knows it, because everybody that's played the game knows it. So
sure.
Spoilers?
Yeah, we'll just say it's spoilers here. That when Joel goes to rescue Ellie,
mm-hmm.
the ruthlessness, the decisiveness, the no nonsense action that he takes was wow.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Do you think he made the right decision?
Yes. Is Ellie going to be happy about that decision? Absolutely not. And that's really going to set up the course for season 2 and 3.
Yeah. Can't wait.
But yes, I do. I mean, because there's that whole discussion of, Joel's saying that Marlene wasn't letting Ellie, or Marlene's argument was that Joel, you can't make this decision for Ellie. You can't. But then Marlene was actually doing that.
Yeah, but she didn't get to choose. Ellie didn't know what was going to happen to her. And so that I'm pretty sure that's what Joel was thinking. If that was me, my thinking would be no, at the cost of the big thing, which is horrific. But at the same time, the world has already gone to poop, and I'm not going to lose another daughter.
For a guess.
Yes,
right?
For a guess. Because they still don't know. They say it, yeah, they were saying, but they don't know.
Yeah. The one thing, the reason that I think Ellie is just going to be like pissed, like overly, is first off that she talks about the amount of death, the trail of death behind her that she feels responsible for, starting with her mom, even though it's not really her fault. I mean, none of this is, like you said, the world has gone to crap.
Yeah.
So bad things are happening to people. So it's not her. I mean, yes, are people trying to save her, transport her, get her, whatever? Sure, people die in that process, but they would do that anyway. So, but I think really the biggest thing that's going to come down to is she asks Joel the question, were you telling me the truth?
Yeah.
And swear. And now I think she knows he's lying.
Yeah.
And I think he also may know that she knows that he's lying.
Yeah.
And it's wow. I mean, the whole storytelling, like from the entire beginning of the series, but in this, I mean, it was so climactic. It was just so tense, so emotional. Like you're right there along for the ride, and just you feel his fear and his, like, why he's doing what he's doing. Because you're right. I can't lose another daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, those conversations about the guy that shot him but missed, you know, and who that guy really was. I mean, that's what a powerful conversation there about him, you know, giving up and then not giving up and choosing to move forward. And yeah, I think we're in for some devastation.
The consequences for what Joel did is the storyline for the next season. So not necessarily just from what Ellie would think, but for that whole scene, it has consequences. So, and it should do, because what he did was horrific. It was awesome. It was badass.
It was.
It was like, you go, Joel.
Dude, when he talks to the doctor, and the doctor, like, he gives the doctor an instruction, and the doctor says no, there's no more talking.
There's no hesitation. Yeah.
It was, which I was like, yes, that's good. That's
He
what
just
you need.
switched off. Yeah.
He was one mind right there, and save his daughter. I mean, you know, Ellie. So yeah, no, it's outstanding. I cannot wait. I was thrilled when I heard the news that they've decided to tell part 2 in 2 seasons.
I think that's the right call. The second game is so much bigger. There's a lot more story, and it is 2 stories. So it and that like merges. You actually play one character, and then the game shifts tone, and you play a whole different character.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, so it's very integral. For those that haven't played the game, like if you thought it was heavy in the first season, man alive, season 2, the second game is like, yeah, it's tough. But I'm looking forward to see how they put that out there, because they put so much in that, like, if they did it in a way that was honoring to the game. But also embellished in the story, like the stuff about the mom. We never saw that in the game. That wasn't in the game. Yeah, which is awesome. The things they changed with, like, the vine and the connectiveness of instead of doing the masks and breathing, they did away with that and did, like, the vines and connection to, I guess, make it more realistic, to have the actors be able to act, see emotion much more. The steaminess is just much easier. Like, I get it. It makes sense. Those changes I didn't mind. I thought they worked well. The creations, the zombies themselves, my goodness, some of them are terrifying. The brute, I think it's episode 5,
where he comes out of the ground.
He comes out of the ground. Holy crap, man, that was so well done. Never mind, the clickers themselves were terrifying.
Oh yeah,
yeah. The sound.
Well, and when they hired that gymnast in that same episode, they hired that, like, teenage gymnast to be the one that attacks, or that chases Ellie in the car. And she's, like, flipping over herself and walking in kind of weird ways. And you're like,
yeah, that was great. Yeah, so well
so
done.
Good.
But some horrific moments just in this season, some of my favorites, where they meet a couple of young lads. That whole scene, like, I was like, yeah, they're traveling with really good people. They're not nasty. When it cuts to the next morning, and you with your heart, you kind of know, right? As she goes to touch the little kid's shoulder, I'm like, flip. That was devastating.
Oh, yeah. That whole sequence, and then the ramifications that happen when he's dude, I was not prepared for that.
No.
Like, I was just, because we just got to know them, and we instantly fall in love with these characters because they are nice people. Like, they seem genuine, they're good, and yeah. So, yeah.
Sorry, Chris, you are stuttering again, and you sound like a robot.
Well, I am a robot.
A few moments later.
Well, we'll move on from The Last of Us. Did you have anything else?
Yeah. I presume this is one that we're both going to talk about. I thought this was going to be on your list. Do you have more?
I have one more, but it's not the one I think that you think I'm going to talk about.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll talk about it.
Cool.
Shadow and Bone Season 2.
Oh.
I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was better than the first season. And it took me a while to get into the second season because I think I'd forgotten. It's been a long time. It wasn't just your traditional next year. It was at least 2 years since then, probably 2.5 years. So it like I got to get back into the Grishaverse. Season 2 was refreshing, I think, also for those that haven't read the books, but for those that have read the books, it's refreshing because they totally went a new way. Basically, they took bits of the story from the Crow book that isn't part of the Grishaverse trilogy. The Crows being the storyline that they kind of start us on, really, have a very integral part to the second season. But we have so many stories on tangent at the beginning that we're following. I think at least 3. Maybe a 4th now and then. Yeah, there is a 4th. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. The 4th plays one that they haven't completed yet. But it comes down to a big crescendo at the end. And they complete a nice arc. So it feels very satisfying. But because of the pacing and how much they put in there, it's what felt like a much faster series. There's definitely much more action in this one once they get going. And some of those action set pieces were amazing. I thought very well choreographed because you got Louis Tan, who's an amazing martial artist. But then you also see for the first time, I think this is what fans wanted, the real use of all of their powers going ham. Like there's I think episode 7 is probably my favorite for the action, because 8 is really kind of almost setting up. They're finishing the arc and then setting up for whatever they want to do with next. And 7 is that the crescendo of all the previous episodes coming together where there's the big kind of battle. And then seeing them all use their powers at each other, I think that's what fans wanted to see. And because we're on episode 7, they have been working up to that point by giving us a lot more character definition to care about. So we've had some great couples forming, I guess. We've seen the ones in jail, that's a heartbreaking story. We've seen the gunslinger, who I love. I think he's fantastic. And his relationship with the explosive expert that's forming, I thought it was wonderful because they're so different characters, but you can see they really like each other. They get each other. I thought their relationship in the books was one of my favorite, and I know that's what fans were looking forward to. It's like one of the big relationships, and I think they did a really good job with that. I do feel like they rushed a little bit in the second. So there's 3 tiers of powers that Alina had to get. She got the first one, the deer, and then she had to get another 2. And the third one was really like the whole book of the third book. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so 2 and 3, they just kind of went, and we're going to put some crows in there. And there was obviously like gutting stuff that they didn't think was necessary. I still think it worked really well. I'm very interested to see what they're going to do now, though.
I agree, because the way that it ended, like it felt wrapped up. Like if they didn't continue on, we could be satisfied, because we just see these characters now kind of going off on adventures, and we could be satisfied
except for one storyline, and that's to do in the jail. Like that would irk me.
Yeah, well, and also I guess because of the Alina storyline, really. I mean, there's some,
very true. Yeah, because I don't remember going that way. I was like, there's that in the book? I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I like you, it did, the season took me a little bit to get into. And I think maybe a little bit of that was just like trying to reconnect with the characters again. But I think it was also because it was just it was scattered. And, that we have a lot of things going on in a lot of different locations, even though they're all working towards the same goal. And which ultimately I didn't mind, because I liked what they were doing, because it allowed to then focus more on certain characters. Like Kaz's story, like takes a big prominence at Ports, and getting to know more about him, because he's one of my favorite characters. I mean, the Crows themselves Like that, for me, that's the most interesting part. I like watching them together interact.
By the time, so it took a while for me to get into the crows, because I was just not. I thought the other storyline was more interesting at the time, like the first 2 episodes. But when you get more into the story with what the crows are sent out on this really integral mission, they already have established like stuff going on with them, and I like the leader because he's so broken because of his past. That he makes like all these decisions that he makes are influenced by his past. But his team look to him to lead them. Because obviously the assassin, she's awesome, but she's tethered to her past, and she needs him to sort that out for her, which he's promised to do. So there's all these little bits that make their storyline really interesting, probably more in depth than the main arc, actually, to be fair, because the main arc is almost paint by numbers, bad guy, got to defeat him, get more power to defeat him, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I think I like this season ultimately better than the first season. I thought it was more emotionally engaging, and some of that is just because we're setting up the world in the first season. You know, you're establishing all these characters, and now we know who they are for the most part, so we can dive more into the minutia and the smaller nuances of their characters and what they're doing. So but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Netflix continues with this.
I don't have my hopes set high for that. As much as I would like to see what they're doing with it, it feels like a very expensive series. The costumes, the sets, they all were excellent. Yeah. And considering how long it took them, they'll probably want to release those actors on their contracts, because to keep them around, they still have to pay them. But if they release them, then it releases not just the budget of the movie, but all the actors. So it's a big thing for them to. And with what Netflix are doing currently, who knows? Like they're all over the place. So yeah,
exactly. Oh man. Okay. The last thing that's on my list, and I'm only going to briefly touch on this because I think we'll talk about it more in coming weeks.
Okay.
But I had the opportunity to see Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves.
I'm so jealous. I'm actually jealous that you got to go see that. This is like one of my films I've been quietly like, if I want to see this film and John Wick this year. Like D&D. Come on.
I think you're going to have fun with it. The story, I mean, it's like, what, 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2 hours and 14 minutes, something like that. It's a longer movie.
Okay.
I don't think it needs to be that long necessarily. For me, it took a little bit at the beginning to kind of find its footing.
Okay.
Like it's setting up the world for us, but also weirdly, it didn't set up, like they kind of tell us or introduce us to the land very quickly. And we see on a map very quickly, like way more than what we're told about. And even once we get to these lands, there's not a lot that we're told. And so I think there was opportunity for more world building within that. Just because, like, knowing I've only played one type of D&D scenario, and that was the one that you wrote, which was a ton of fun. But then, I mean, like watching Stranger Things as they do their campaigns and stuff, or Critical Role, and Vox Machina, those types of things, so there's a lot of world building that goes into to describe this, for there. And there wasn't as much of that, at least initially. I gotta say though, once it finally begins to click and it's starting to work, I was laughing out loud. I mean, the comedy was amazing. There were so many points that it's just like, and a lot of it comes down to the comedic delivery. Like Chris Pine has some amazing timing, and his sarcastic voice works. Like, it's not overly sarcastic. It's more of almost
is he dry?
Yeah. Kind of disbelief at a character. And so he's describing or talking to himself about what a character is doing, and it's just naturally funny. The whole cast, though, like Michelle Rodriguez, she's awesome in this. So much fun. You have Regine.
From Bridgerton?
Page, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He's not in the movie a ton.
Okay.
But he is awesome in the part that he's in.
Nice.
He has this quality to him that I think you're going to really enjoy, because he feels like another character from another franchise that we've seen, except way more intelligent.
Right. Okay.
So
when's this coming out, Chris?
in the US it comes out March 31st.
Okay, that's not too far at all. I think we have to wait longer than that.
Do you? Oh, that's that. It. I mean, the whole movie. I want to say some of it is predictable, like some of the story arc, but that's okay. Like that part didn't bother me, because it's following along the story that I want to see. Kind of where, like, I think I know where it's going, and I'm okay with that direction because it feels satisfying. And what we get was satisfying. It was fun. It was, way more funny than I thought it was going to be. The action is a lot of fun too. There are some, I think the special effects are, for the most part, are really good. I think there were a couple pieces here and there that, it might be a little rough. And because I saw a screener so early, they might be going back in and finalizing some things.
True.
Later or
that
anything else. So it's, so I can't like hang my hat on that or just die on that hill that none of the graphic or, some of the graphics are terrible, because, I don't remember them being terrible. I think the whole cast, I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this. I think for D&D fans, I think there's a ton of stuff in there that people will pick up on that, like, I don't know. Like, there's Easter eggs, I'm sure, just galore in there. As somebody, though, who has played one little campaign, and basically doesn't know much about the game or the world, I was able to get into the story and have a lot of fun with it still.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
So because it comes down to the story. I mean, does the story capture you? Does it present you with a complication that you want to see your characters figure out and work through? Yes. And and I liked the characters, so that's also the whole dynamic of the group, the fellowship, whatever you want to call them. They're a lot of fun, and they have great chemistry within them.
That's what I got from the trailer. They look like they were having fun together, and the film doesn't seem to take itself too seriously. So that there's a lot of banter between, like, the craziness that's ensuing with they work, and that's what you need, because that's basically a campaign that you talking weird crap and messing with each other in your storyline, but in the meantime there's a demigorgon that you got to fight. That's D&D. A lot of fun.
That's exactly it. No, it was a blast. It was crazy to watch. The cast, they click well, they work well together, and they just deliver a lot of fun. And so it's I can't wait for you to see it. I think you're going to have a blast with it. Because, and I think everybody will.
I love these type of films, these escapist and adventure films. That's my jam, man.
Totally. And that's exactly what this is. I mean, this is the great time at the movies, you know? So cool. That's all on my list. Do you have more?
No, that's all on my list for now. You can hear us talk about something in the exclusive audio, so I'll wait to talk about that in the audio.
Okay. Sweet. Well, hey, we thank you for joining us. Apologize for some of the technical difficulties on Chris's side. Is what it is. Their internet is kind of wonky sometimes. But please, you can always tweet at us at Best We Watched. Don't forget that for £1 or like $1.30, maybe it's a little bit more than that now because the dollar seems to be slipping even more. But regardless, For just a very, very, very low entry price, you can gain access to a crap ton of videos on our Patreon, patreon.com/thebeardedones. It's on the screen. It's in the description. And we invite you to check that out. There are different tiers. And just so you know, that support from there in exchange for getting exclusive content, the funds that are raised, they go to help offset just the cost of the production here. The technology we use isn't free, and so there is investment within there, and so that helps to offset that. We would love for you to, like Ruben said, visit our audio podcast where you get more. It's just more. There's a reason to go there because there's exclusive movie reviews. And then we also talk about some entertainment news and some of the items that are coming up in the next week that you might want to put on your radar. Please, you can also watch our channels, which you are doing right now. But if you're watching Chris's channel, click over and watch Ruben's channel and like, share, and subscribe him, Ruben, the Ruby Tuesday. If you're watching on Ruben's channel, and come over to Chris's for a second and like, share, and subscribe, and then go back to his. So either way, I'm Movies and Munchies. We thank you so much for just spending your time with us. We hope you had fun. We had fun. We'll see you next week. All right. Take care.